we think of the Victorian era, we often imagine elegance, long flowing dresses, candlelit rooms, handwritten letters, and a life that feels slower and more romantic than our own. But for women living in Victorian Britain, daily life was far more complicated than paintings and period dramas suggest. Behind the lace, corsets, and carefully arranged hairstyles were strict rules, exhausting routines, and expectations that shaped every moment of a woman's life, from the moment she woke up to the moment she went to sleep. Today, I want to take you through what life was really like for women in the Victorian era, from fashion and beauty to work, marriage, health, and the quiet realities history often leaves out. The Victorian era lasted from 1837 to 1901 during the reign of Queen Victoria. It was a time of massive change, industrialization, expanding cities, new technologies, and strict social hierarchies. A woman's experience during this time depended heavily on class. A wealthy woman's life looked very different from that of a working-class woman. But regardless of class, women were expected to be modest, obedient, and centered around the home. Society believed a woman's purpose was to be gentle, moral, and devoted to others. A Victorian woman's day often began early. For working-class women, mornings meant immediately preparing for labor, factory work, laundry, cleaning homes, or caring for children. For middle and upper-class women, the morning was filled with ritual. She would be dressed by herself or with help, layer by layer, a chemise, corset, petticoats, skirts, and bodice. Getting dressed could take 30 minutes or more. Breakfast was often light, and days were structured around household management, letter writing, sewing, reading, and social visits. Even leisure was carefully controlled. A woman was expected to appear busy, but never ambitious. Victorian fashion is one of the most recognizable aspects of the era, and one of the most misunderstood. Corsets were worn by most women, not just the wealthy. Contrary to popular belief, they weren't always meant to crush organs. But tight lacing did happen, especially among women trying to meet beauty standards. Corsets shaped posture and silhouette, but they could also cause fainting, restricted breathing, digestion problems, chronic pain. Dresses were heavy, often weighing several kilograms. In summer, they trapped heat. In winter, they offered little warmth. Fashion wasn't about comfort. It was about respectability. A woman's appearance reflected her moral character, at least in the eyes of society. Victorian beauty ideals favoured pale skin, a small waist, soft features, long hair. Pale skin symbolised wealth. It meant you didn't work outdoors. Some women even used powders containing lead or arsenic to lighten their complexion. Hair was rarely cut short. It was styled daily into braids, buns, or elaborate shapes, and often saved when shed to create hairpieces later. Looking naturally beautiful took effort, but effort was not supposed to be visible. Marriage was considered the ultimate goal for most women. Love was secondary to stability, reputation, and family approval. Once married, a woman had few legal rights. Divorce was nearly impossible. Her husband controlled finances and decisions motherhood was expected, but childbirth was extremely dangerous. Many women faced multiple pregnancies with little medical care. Remaining unmarried was socially risky. Unmarried women were often viewed as burdens or failures, regardless of their intelligence or talent. Women's health was poorly understood. Pain, exhaustion, depression, and anxiety were often dismissed as female weakness or labelled as hysteria. Doctors frequently prescribed bed rest, isolation, forced inactivity. Mental health struggles were rarely acknowledged with compassion. Many women suffered quietly, their experiences left out of official records. Today, we romanticize the Victorian era. The clothes, the architecture, the etiquette. But behind the beauty was a life shaped by restriction. Women were expected to endure, silently, gracefully. The lives of Victorian women were complex, constrained, and deeply human. Understanding their reality helps us see the past more clearly, not as a fantasy, but as a world lived by real people with hopes, fears, and strength. Thank you for being here and for listening to one story from our world, archived.